The Generals of the Yang Family, Chapter 12.
You know, there's a specific kind of horror you get when you're reading military history. It's not the gore, not necessarily.
Hmm.
It isn't even the, descriptions of the weapons. It is that one precise moment you realize the person in charge, the one calling all the shots, has absolutely no idea what they're doing, and you
Okay.
just know thousands of people are about to pay the price for it.
That sinking feeling when hubris just completely overrides intelligence. It's painful to watch, even from
Yeah.
1,000 years away.
Exactly. And that is the central tension of the text we are unpacking today. Now, usually when we talk about this saga, it's all heroism, right? Martial arts. But this chapter, it reads like a disaster movie.
It really does. We're analyzing the Battle of Jialiang River. And you're right, the focus is usually on the glory of the Yang family. But this chapter is, it's actually a fascinating case study in catastrophic leadership failure. You have the Song Emperor, Taizong, making a series of decisions that are just so bad they almost feel fictional.
But they set the stage for one of the most famous rescues in the entire lore. How this massive blunder happened, the tactical trap the Liao army set.
And of course, look at how the Yang family, specifically Yang Yi and his sons, managed to salvage survival out of a total massacre.
And we absolutely have to talk about the donkey cart.
We're definitely talking about the donkey cart.
I still can't get over that. But okay, let's set the scene first. We're at the Song army camp. You'd think, an army about to attack would be hyped up, full of confidence, but the source material, it paints a very different picture, doesn't it?
It's incredibly tense. You have two seasoned generals, Hui Nanzan and Gao Huaid, coming back from the front lines. These aren't rookies.
Not at all.
They've spent their lives in warfare, and the report to the emperor is, well, it's grim. They basically come back and say, look, the Liao generals are heroes. Their morale is high. We are not guaranteed to win this.
They're trying to manage expectations.
Exactly. And then you have Pan Renmei. Now, for anyone new to this saga, Pan Renmei is usually the villain of the piece, the corrupt official who sabotages the Yangs later on. But what really struck me reading this is that even he is the voice of reason here.
That's how you know it's bad. When the villain is telling you to pump the brakes, you should probably listen.
Right. Pan Renmei goes to Emperor Taizong and explicitly says the Liao momentum is too sharp.
Yes.
He's almost begging the emperor to be cautious.
But Taizong doesn't listen. And his justification for ignoring his generals is, well, it's fascinatingly weird to modern ears.
It is. He says, I will personally visit the battlefield to decide who is male and female with the barbarian generals.
Decide who is male and female. I highlighted that phrase 3 times. It stops you in your tracks. What does that even mean? Is he talking about gender?
Not quite. It's a metaphor that really requires the context of the time, the whole yin-yang duality. He's not talking about biology. He's using a metaphor for dominance and submission. He's not just saying, I want to win. He is saying, I want to establish the natural order where I am the master and they are the subjects. It's all about imposing a hierarchy.
So it's pure ego. He wants to be the one to physically crush them and prove he's the dominant force.
Precisely. He wants the glory of the conquest for himself, not just the victory for the state. The Eight King, the eighth virtuous prince, who sort of acts as the story's moral compass, he tries to intervene.
He does, yeah.
He tells Taizong, there is no need for you to personally risk the arrows and stones. But Taizong just ignores him and orders the attack for the very next day.
It's the classic mistake, isn't it? The leader who thinks his title gives him tactical genius. So the order is given, the Song army moves out, and the text describes this massive force swarming like a river filling the wild.
It sounds impressive.
It does. It sounds like they're unstoppable.
Visually, yes. Yeah. But while Taizong is posturing with this huge river of soldiers, the Liao commanders, Yilu Shuj and Yilu Sha, are actually doing strategy.
A novel concept.
Right. This is the contrast between a politician playing soldier and actual generals. The Song army is huge, so they don't meet them head on. They set a trap.
So walk us through the Liao plan. What are they doing?
It's a coordinated effort. They split their forces. They station a general named Yelu Suigu behind the Song lines to wait in ambush.
A classic pincer movement.
It is, but it relies entirely on the Song army being overconfident. And, well, they are. The battle starts with what looks like a standard duel. Huyanzan rides out, challenges the Liao, and Yilisha answers. They fight for 30 rounds.
Now, 30 rounds is a marathon in these texts. Usually a duel is over in, 3 or 4 exchanges. What does that tell us?
It tells us it's a stalemate. Man for man, the generals are evenly matched. Neither side has an edge in raw skill. Then it just escalates into this massive brawl. More generals jump in. Yelushidi comes in with an axe. Gao Huai intercepts him. Drums, flags, dust. It just becomes chaos.
But that's what they want.
That chaos is exactly what the Liao want. They want the Song army completely fixated on the front.
They're drawing them in. And then, boom, the trap springs.
Signal fires and cannons from the rear. Yelushwegu attacks the back of the Song formation.
The description here is, it's just terrifying. It says the Song formation crumbled, like mountains collapsing and seas surging.
It's total disintegration. I mean, you have to imagine the psychology of the soldier on the ground. You're focused on the enemy in front of you, and suddenly there are explosions and cavalry charges coming from behind you, from where you thought you were safe.
Panic.
An army attacked from behind while engaged in the front almost always panics. The soldiers don't know where to run.
And Yelushir, the Liao commander, he sees it. He's watching from a platform, sees the formation break, and just sends fresh troops straight into the center. And he knows exactly who he's looking for.
The emperor, the guy who wanted to decide who is male and female, is now completely exposed in the middle of a collapsing army.
And this is where the narrative really punishes that hubris. Taizong is cut off, he's ordering his generals to protect him, and here's that weird moment with Pan Renmei again. He tries to prove himself right.
He tries to be a hero. He charges Yelushuj, and it goes poorly.
Poorly is an understatement.
The text says they crossed horses, and in one round,
Just one round.
the first exchange, Pan Renmei is not clean off his horse. He is completely outclassed. He's only saved because another general, Guo Jin, rushes in and literally drags him to safety.
It really highlights the danger level. If a top general like Pan Renmei can get one-shotted like that, the emperor is in huge trouble.
Well, he is. The lines have broken. His protectors are failing. So Taizong does the only thing left to do. He runs.
Flees toward a place called Fendam.
But he's not just running. He's being hunted. Two specific Liao officers, Wuinu and Walixi, are right on his tail.
Even their names sound intimidating, Wuranu and Walixi.
They're closing in. And this is the pivot point of the chapter. We shift from the incompetence of the leadership to the sheer competence of the Yang family. Yang Ye, the patriarch, is in the south camp. He sees the emperor's banners in distress.
And there's no debate here. No strategy meeting. He just looks at his sons and says, the master is in trouble, why not save him?
That's the code they live by. Loyalty is immediate. And Yang Yanzhao, the sixth son, he doesn't even wait for a plan. He just charges out.
He intercepts the first pursuer, Wuanu.
And unlike Pan Renmei, Yanzhao is lethal.
The text says he yells, Liao barbarian, slow down. Wuanu gets angry, swings his sword, and Yanzhao just puts a spear through his chest. Done.
One pursuer down. That's the difference between performative heroism and actual skill. But now we get to the scene. Yanzhao reaches the emperor on the dam. Taizong is stranded. His horse has been shot full of arrows, and it can't run.
So Yanzhao immediately offers his own horse. He says, take mine, I'll fight on foot. Now we have to pause on that. Fighting on foot against cavalry, that is suicide.
It is a death sentence. A man on the ground has no mobility, no leverage against a mounted opponent. Yanzhao is essentially trading his life for the emperor's escape. But Taizong, he hesitates, and not out of nobility.
This is the part I could not believe. The emperor looks at the horse, looks at Yanzhao, and says, and this is a quote, you should ride the horse and fight. I will ride a donkey cart to escape.
It is absolutely absurd.
A donkey cart.
You have an army collapsing, professional killers are engaging you, arrows are flying everywhere, and the emperor suggests a donkey cart.
It just implies he thinks he can casually roll away from a battlefield while his army's being slaughtered. It shows such a disconnect from reality.
Like, oh, don't worry about me. I'll just take the scenic route on this donkey.
Exactly.
It might be shock, or it might just be that deep-seated arrogance that assumes the universe will just bend around him. But Yanzhao snaps him out of it, practically forces the emperor onto the horse.
Right, he says, the enemy soldiers are coming in huge numbers. Get on the horse quickly. Better to let your subject be injured or killed than for you not to care for yourself.
We don't have time for your donkey cart fantasy, sir.
Exactly. And right then, the seventh son, Yang Zilong, arrives. He helps the emperor mount, and they break out of the encirclement. But that leaves Yanzhao all alone, on foot.
And the second pursuer, Walixi, is there.
This is Yanzhao's action hero moment. He is surrounded, no horse, arrows raining down. Walixi blocks his path.
And Yanzhao doesn't panic. He just stares him down.
And stabs him right through the throat.
Brutal efficiency. He kills the leader, but he's still trapped by all the other soldiers. It takes the arrival of the cavalry, literally his father, Yang Ye, along with Gao Huai and Huyanzan to smash through the lines and pull him out.
They manage to retreat to Dingzhou. The emperor survives. The Yang brothers survive. It sounds like a happy ending. But when the dust settles, we have to look at the scoreboard, because this was not a victory.
No, and the source material is very specific about the numbers. The Song army lost 80 to 90,000 troops.
90,000, that's a staggering number of human lives.
It's an entire generation of young men, plus weapons, horses, supplies. And politically, they lost the Yinzhou prefectures back to the Liao. Strategically, it is an absolute catastrophe.
All because one man wanted to decide who is male and female.
And the disparity in consequences is, well, it's infuriating. Back in safety, Taizong admits it. He says, if not for Yang Yi and his sons, I would have lost my life. He knows he messed up.
So what's the reward for saving the dynasty? The Yangs essentially pulled him out of a fire he started.
Yang Yi gets 20 rolls of satin and silk and 40 taels of gold.
Wait, 90,000 people died, the Yangs risked extinction to save him, and they get fabric.
Fabric and a little bit of gold.
Aye.
And a verbal IOU. Taizong says, this is just a token. We'll discuss real rewards back in the capital. It highlights the same disconnect we saw with the donkey cart, you know.
Of course.
The emperor's life is worth everything. The soldiers' lives are worth nothing. The reward is almost insulting compared to the scale of the disaster.
And even then, they aren't safe. The Eight King has to step in again to tell the emperor, look, our supplies are gone, our soldier spirits have fled, we need to go home.
And finally, Taizong listens. They retreat. Pan Renmei leads the front, and Yang Ye guards the middle, which is a position of high trust, actually, and they limp back to the capital. Meanwhile, it's a fantastic study in contrasts. Two very different leadership responses to the aftermath of war. On one side, you have the Song dynasty handling the bitterness of defeat.
Right.
And on the other, you have the Liao dynasty trying to manage the intoxication of victory.
So we've got the sore losers versus the arrogant winners.
In a manner of speaking, yeah. But as we'll see, sometimes the sore loser is actually the more dangerous opponent because they're forced to be introspective. Defeat clears the mind in a way victory rarely does.
How so?
Victory tends to make you think you're invincible.
Okay, let's unpack this. We're starting with the Song Emperor, Taizong. He has just come back to his capital, Bianjing, after getting, kicked around at the Battle of Yuzhou. And the text says he is not taking it well.
Not at all.
It says he wanted to, and I'm quoting here, hang a gallbladder to remind himself of the shame. Now, I have to ask, is that a figure of speech, or was he literally decorating with organs?
It is a very specific, very intense historical reference. It goes back to the ancient king Gujian. The legend is that after a crushing defeat, he slept on brushwood and hung a bitter gallbladder in his room.
No way.
Oh, yeah. Every single day, he would taste it just to remind himself of the bitterness of his humiliation.
Wow, that is committed.
It is. It's all about fueling revenge with daily discomfort. So Emperor Taizong is in that exact headspace. He tells his court, I want to wipe out these ugly thieves immediately. He's ready to go.
He's ready to mobilize everything right then and there. And he argues his case, right? He says, look, we have sharp armor, we have a rich treasury, why aren't we attacking?
And this is where the Song court really shows its quality. Because in a lot of imperial courts, when an angry emperor says, let's attack, the advisors just nod and say, brilliant idea, Your Majesty.
Of course, they want to keep their heads attached to their bodies.
Exactly. But here you have these advisors, Zhao Pu, Du Chang, Guo Ji. They don't just, flatter him. They acknowledge that, yes, the treasury is full. But then they point to the human cost. They tell him the soldiers, their wounds are not yet healed.
I love the specific advice they give him here. They don't just say wait. They say wait for high autumn and fat horses.
It's such a vivid image, isn't it? High autumn and fat horses.
It sounds like poetry, but I have a feeling you're going to tell me it's actually about logistics.
It is 100% logistics.
Okay.
I mean, think about pre-modern warfare. Your tanks are horses. In the summer, the heat is intense, disease spreads, and the horses might be lean. But autumn, the harvest is in, so you have grain for the troops, the weather is cool and dry, and most importantly, the horses have spent the entire summer grazing on lush grass. They are literally fat. They're muscular, energized, and ready for a campaign.
So saying wait for fat horses is basically like saying wait until the data supports the decision.
Precisely. It's checking the dashboard before you floor the gas pedal.
And the really surprising thing is the emperor actually listens. He doesn't execute the messenger. He cancels the revenge tour. The text says he holds a banquet at Changwon Hall instead.
Which is a huge moment of restraint. He chooses to heal the organization rather than break it for his ego. That banquet is symbolic. It's about restoring morale, showing the team they're valued, not just cannon fodder for his vendetta.
So the Song go into recovery mode. But while the army is resting, the HR department is working overtime. Which brings us to one of the biggest names in the book, General Yang Ye.
Yang Ye, a fascinating figure. In this chapter, we see his big rise. The emperor issues a decree promoting him to prefect of Daizong and grand marshal. That is a massive amount of power in one man's hands.
It's not just him, though. Even his sons get titles.
That's right.
They're made commissioners of Tuanlian. It's a huge family promotion. But here's where it gets really interesting and a little bit petty from the other officials. The emperor gives Yang Ye a new house, and the name of the house is the Wuning Residence.
Which translates roughly to the no flattery or loyal residence.
Can you imagine the office politics fallout from that? Oh, you live in the I'm better than you house. Must be nice. It feels like the emperor is just painting a target on Yang Ye's back.
It absolutely caused a backlash. The source text is very clear that other officials started complaining.
What were they saying?
They argued that Yang Ye hadn't performed enough great service yet to justify rewarding his entire family like that. It's classic tall poppy syndrome.
So the emperor doubles down. He says something about faith and righteousness.
He does. He tells the court, I treat people with faith and righteousness, or Xinyi. He's signaling that his management style is about trust and character, not just checking boxes on a resume. He trusts Yang Ye's potential.
But Yang Ye, he's savvy. He knows that having a target on your back in the imperial court is, well, it's dangerous.
Right.
So he pulls a move that I think is just brilliant. He writes a petition to the emperor.
This petition is a masterclass in political survival. Yang Ye writes, I am rough and clumsy. He claims he lacks the literary talent to run a state and the martial talent to quell chaos.
He's the Grand Marshal. He's the guy they just promoted to protect the border. And he's saying, I'm just a clumsy guy. I don't really know what I'm doing.
Exactly. He is lowering his own status voluntarily. He accepts his own post. He has to obey the emperor, but he asks the emperor to revoke his son's titles. He calls it avoiding the crime of excessive reward.
So is he actually humble, or is he just trying not to get stabbed in the back by his coworkers?
I think it's likely a mix of both, but it's primarily a survival strategy. By giving up his son's titles, he removes the fuel for his enemy's envy. It's essentially saying, look, I'm not building a dynasty here. I'm just a rough soldier doing my job.
It's like strategic incompetence.
In a way, yes. And the emperor agrees to it. By doing this, Yang Ye actually solidifies his position. He proves he isn't power-hungry. He makes himself safe by appearing smaller.
The art of retreat applied to a career ladder. Sometimes you have to step down a rung to keep the whole ladder from falling over.
That is a great analogy. And it contrasts so sharply with what happens next. Because while the Song are playing this careful internal game, we shift our focus to the enemy camp, the Liao dynasty.
Right. Over in the Liao camp, the vibe is completely different. They just won. They are feeling invincible. Their general, Ye Shuj, returns to the capital, and he is the star of the show. Empress Xiao loves him.
And victory breeds ambition. Ye Shuj proposes an immediate strike on the Song capital, Bianqing.
Strike while the iron's hot.
His argument is the mirror image of the Song emperor's earlier anger. He says the Song are harboring internal fear.
But here's the flip side. Empress Xiao, who's usually pretty sharp, she hesitates. She sounds a bit like those Song advisors from earlier. She says, wait, the Song are still strong in men and horses?
She is the voice of reason here. She senses that overextending might be a mistake, but then a third voice enters the conversation. The Yan King, Han Guangxi.
This guy. The Hawk.
The Hawk. He steps up and basically says, I'll go with Ye Shuj, we can do this.
Yeah.
And the Empress caves. She authorizes the invasion.
But look at the command structure she sets up. This seems odd. Han Guangxi is the commander. Ye Shuj, the guy who actually won the last battle, is just set as rescue or support.
That is a critical error. Han Guangxi is a royal, a high-ranking official, but he isn't the battle-hardened tactician that Ye Shuj is. It creates this friction that plays out almost immediately.
The person with the authority clashing with the person with the expertise.
I forgot it.
So they march out. And the text gives us this really moody, cinematic description. It's September, cold winds, falling leaves, and the sad sound of wild geese.
It creates this foreboding atmosphere. The sad sound of wild geese is a classic literary trope in Chinese literature, evoking separation, hardship. It suggests this campaign is not going to have a happy ending.
The narrator is winking at us.
Exactly. Don't get too comfortable.
It sets the stage perfectly. So the Liao army, 100,000 strong, rolls up to a place called Sucheng. And inside, the Song defender, Lu Tinghan, is sweating bullets.
He has every reason to be. He's outnumbered. His army's morale is shaky because his emperor just lost a major war. If he tries to fight them head on, he loses. Simple as that.
So he calls a meeting, and one of his generals, Kui Yanjin, proposes a scheme, the classic fake surrender.
Which is a staple of warfare, but the problem is, it's obvious. It almost always smells like a trap.
Exactly. So the other general, Li Hongkong, he adds the special sauce, the sweetener. He says, don't just surrender, send them food and money first.
And this is the psychological genius of the plan. Li Hongkong understands that greed can override logic. He says, if we send supplies, they will see our sincerity. What he really means is, if we bribe them, they will want to believe the lie.
It's like a phishing scam. If I just ask for your password, you say no. But if I say, you want $1 million, just give me your password.
Well, so you're listening.
So they do it. They send a messenger to the Liao camp with oxen, wine, cash, the works, saying, hey, we give up. Here's a down payment.
Now watch the reaction in the Liao command tent. This is the pivotal moment. You have Han Guangxi, the commander, the politician. He sees the money. He sees the free food. And he buys it. He says, they sent us stuff. How can it not be true?
But Yelu Shuj, the actual experienced general, is standing right there screaming, no.
Yelu Shuj sees right through it. He warns Han Guangxi specifically. He says, the Song army is not weak. Surrendering without fighting is a trap. Do not trust them.
It's the too good to be true rule, but Han Guangxi ignores him. Why? Is he just stupid, or is it something else?
It's not necessarily stupidity. It's confirmation bias fueled by greed. Han Guangxi wants an easy victory. He wants to march back to Empress Shao with a conquered city and a pile of loot without losing a single soldier.
It's that arrogance of the winner we talked about.
Exactly. The money the Song sent just validated the story he wanted to tell himself. He thinks, of course they're surrendering. We're the mighty Liao army.
He's blinded by his own narrative, so he ignores the warning.
Completely.
He tells the army, we're good. And the next day, they march to the city walls expecting a handover ceremony.
And this is where the trap is sprung. The Song commander, Lu Tingyan, has set up a textbook ambush formation.
Okay, let's break down this trap. What are they walking into?
It's a three-part mechanism, a classic pincer movement. First, Vice General Kui Yanjin takes 10,000 cavalry and hides them at the east gate. His job is to loop around and cut off the Liao retreat.
So lock the back door.
Right. Then at the west gate, you have Li Hongkong with 10,000 infantry. He's the hammer. His job is to wait till the enemy is close, then raise the bridge and capture them.
And Lu Tingyan himself.
He takes the elite troops, secretly exits the south gate, and acts as the rescue or support force. He's the anvil.
So just imagine the scene. The Liao army is marching up, probably in parade formation. Soldiers are thinking about how they're going to spend that loot. Those sad geese are honking overhead. And Han Guangxi is smiling, thinking he's a genius.
And behind the walls, thousands of Song soldiers are just waiting for the signal. The tension must have been unbearable.
And then
Chaos. The Song forces burst out. Because the Liao were expecting a ceremony, they weren't in battle formation. They were completely unprepared.
a total rout.
The retreat was cut off, the bridge was raised, the elite troops hammered them. It wasn't a battle, it was a slaughter.
And the tragedy for the Liao is that they had the information to stop it. Yelu Shuj told them exactly what was happening.
That's the art of retreat, failing in real time.
Yeah.
If Han Guangxi had just paused to verify, the trap fails. But his arrogance, fed by the bribe, pushed him forward.